Welcome to Digital Tales, Navigating Digital Citizenship through Story and STEAM. I'm Laura Thornton. I'm a digital teaching and learning specialist with Duplin County Schools, and I am excited to be presenting this session to you. We're going to address digital citizenship through a different set of format. But first, before we begin, I would like to highlight NCBOLD cybersecurity and data privacy statement. And we're going to begin our session today highlighting a digital story swap. And in here, as we know, every one of us has a digital horror story, so to speak. And I'd like you to turn to your partner and just share out one of the instances that you've come across in your career with digital invasion of privacy or something of that nature. I can share one of mine during the pandemic. I woke up one morning and in that summer and had a gazillion alerts from Amazon. Apparently somebody had hacked my Amazon account and I had bought multiple thousands of dollars worth of PlayStations. Fortunately, all of that was addressed, but nonetheless, all of us have digital cyber story of horror story rather to share out. So with that said, we're going today to focus in on how to navigate digital citizenship and to really challenge our students and ourselves and our profession to think critically about how we can improve and address this emerging issue, ongoing issue that we have in our schools. So we're going to be focusing in on the what and whys of digital citizenship. We're going to explore common sense media resources, and then we're going to mash up common sense media resources with picture books and STEAM challenges and identify how these common sense media curriculum supports digital citizenship. And then at the end, I have a treat for all of us of a new resource that has just come out in the last week. So I'm excited to share that with you as well. All of our program today is addressing the ISTE standard for students, educators, and education leaders. So we're excited to be here today. So with that said, what is digital citizenship? According to the U.S. Institute of Diplomacy and Human Rights, it teaches individuals how to engage and participate in responsible ways of using technology in order to protect themselves from internet dangers and respect each other's human rights. And why is this important? What's the big deal? Why do we care? Well, if you're familiar with the new book that came out this spring, The Anxious Generation, you know that digital citizenship is very impactful on the well-being of our students. And did you know that, for example, today we have most every one of our students have a smartphone. Most every one of our students are not only on, it used to be Facebook, but now it is TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat. In fact, why does this even matter to us? As you can see here, the Federal Trade Commission says that most people are impacted by 2.8 million are impacted by fraud. And with the number of news and media sources, there's just a rise in fraud, misinformation, and disinformation. And with what's going to happen this year in 2024, we just need to be very vigilant about where we're getting our information from and about our digital safety and security. So, as a teacher, what can we do to help? Well, did you realize that on average, a teacher impacts 3,000 students in the course of their career? And if we can just make these small changes as classroom teachers, media coordinators, school leaders, in raising awareness of digital citizenship, it can really lead to making a larger impact for the betterment of our students and our society. So how are we going to do this? Well, we're going to do it very simply. We're going to grab some common sense media resources. I'm going to pull those out for you. We're going to look at picture books, and we're going to mash it together with a STEAM challenge. And the reason I formatted our presentation this way is it's not enough to have the common sense media lessons and just have that in isolation, but I really am a big believer in stories and the power of stories. And I think if we can connect a story to that concept in the curriculum with the common sense media, digital citizenship resources, and then really bring it to life using our hands and manipulatives with the STEAM challenge, I think that'll be more powerful and meaningful for our students and our staff. So If you're not familiar with Common Sense Media resources, they are free to all educators. We simply have to register. And once we register, we see that they have a series of platforms that they stand for: media choice, digital equity, digital literacy and citizenship, tech accountability, and a healthy childhood. And from there, what we would do is we would dig into the digital citizenship component. And as you can see here, they have it broken down into different grade spans. And from there, once we do that, we go to the digital citizenship, we pick our grade span, and then we have our choices: well-being and balance, privacy and security, footprint and identity, relationships and communication, cyberbullying, and hate speech, and then news and media literacy. So we delve into the topic that we would like to look at. And then from there, they're going to, as in my slide here, they're going to present us with an actual lesson. And it's got it all mapped out for what it will be: the warm-up, evaluation, and so forth, as well as the materials that you're going to need. And what's even better is that they actually have take-home resources for you to engage with your families, because when we can connect it to the families and raise awareness that way, that makes it even more impactful. So we have identified our grade span, we've identified the strand that we're going to work on within the digital citizenship, and now we have our lesson plan. Once we have that, we are going to mash it up into an actual story time and STEAM challenge. And so what I've got is for us a chance to explore and do this. And what I did was I pulled out 4 Common Sense Media resources. And in our session that we're going to have in person, I have boxes prepared. And then within those boxes are these 4 takeaways, these 4 programs already developed for you. And so we're just going to go through them. I'm going to highlight them. But if you were actually doing it in my session, we would actually be in stations and engaging in the activity. So we'll first pick our our digital citizenship, or the power of words. From here, with the power of words, we have got our Common Sense Media lesson highlighted. And then we're going to connect the book Sticks and Stones. You've heard of the nursery rhyme, Sticks and Stones may break my bones. And then from there, once we read that story, we're going to paint kindness rocks. And the connection here is to actually identify, we have the mean word of the power of words. Well, we're going to create a kind word. And so we'll simply paint our rock so that our students can connect that words matter and that we want to be impactful and realize that we want to use kind words. Our next activity that we have highlighted is our digital citizenship pledge, where the students actually work on what they would pledge as far as a digital citizenship area would go. And how I've connected this one is I'm actually using the story Too Much Glue. It's a great little story about the student that does too much of the glue. And that's the thing with digital citizenship, is we need to make sure that we're using a balance. We don't want to be involved in the media too much. We don't want to be on our telephones or our devices 24/7. And so here the challenge, the STEAM challenge is to actually build a digital citizenship pledge shield with glue, noting that if we use too much digital in our life, that's never healthy. We obviously want a balance with our digital citizenship in our lives. Our next up is our digital tales or trail. And how this one works is we have our digital trails lesson on Common Sense Media. That's basically talking about our digital footprint. And there's a great little story already created for you called the Technology Tale. And what we would do here is we would have that story read. We would connect our digital Common Sense Media lesson. And then from there, we would challenge our students to actually build a digital tale. We did this with our 5th graders earlier this year. And they literally created a tale and identified things that would go on their digital tale. To understand the importance and significance of everything that we do on the internet, on digitally, is always tracked. And then last up that we're going to highlight is our hopes and fakes. This is a great lesson. If you're not familiar with this one, I'm sure you've seen the internet, the viral internet video where a pig actually helped rescue a billy goat. Well, this lesson actually highlights how that was created, and it really delves into the importance of understanding that videos can be altered and all of that good stuff. So you've got this lesson. Well, then, guys, we actually have the story, the Nantucket Sea Monster. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this one, but it's actually a true story where it was a fake news thing was created years and years ago before we even heard about fake news. And this is the story of what happened back in the day with fake news. And so our STEAM challenge here is to build a hoax and a headline. And I've got examples like when pigs fly. And so you would actually create with manipulatives something that would represent your hoax, and then you would create a sensational headline for that. This activity actually could be adapted to be a digital activity, but again, I like manipulatives hands-on because I think that if you're doing things with hands-on manipulatives, it actually builds those neuron connections within our brain waves to connect our lesson with being more intentional. So those were the 4 common sense media lessons I wanted to highlight for you. And then once we do this in our session, we had that in stations. We would do a share out where everyone would go through their lesson and share their picture book and their makerspace connection. And then from there, we would be given an opportunity to actually challenge to build it ourselves. And the plan is I have a stack of picture books already pulled out for you. And your job would be to identify a picture book, a common sense media lesson, and create a STEAM challenge that would do that. And the sweet spot of all of this is that we're going to create a resource bank so that we have all of this pulled together. So back in September, we will have all of this created for us and that we can easily share out and access this information with our colleagues and our students in the school year. So hopefully that will be a very impactful connection for us. And I'm very much so looking forward to that. With that said, I have built a digital citizenship wakelet that I'm mighty proud of, that I think has got some very great resources, but I wanted to pull out a few of those for purposes of this presentation. And that is within Common Sense Media. And you're thinking, well, Laura, picture books are just picture books. They're for littles. Actually, guys, they're for all ages. And what a great time to model literacy, read alouds, but to build community. And so with that said, Common Sense Media actually has it for my upper grades, the curriculum, the subject level, and the Common Sense Media lesson already identified for you. It is right there, so easy for you to address and pull out. And let me see if this will work. Not quite in my video presentation, but if you just simply click on that, you can see that every grade level and subject level is pulled out for these lessons. And I also want to point out this. The lessons that I pulled out can easily be adapted to any grade level. This is not something just for the littles or something just for the high schools. This is can be modified and changed up to fit whatever grade level you're working with. So I encourage you to do that. Another thing that I'd like to encourage you to consider is the Common Sense Educator Roadmap for Recognition. And I want to encourage all of us this school year to challenge our schools to connect a Common Sense Media lesson with every classroom this year. And so they've easily got it all laid out for you. Very little work on your part other than sharing it with your school, your staff members, but you simply make a copy of the document. You plan your path, and what that looks like is you just simply pick the Common Sense Media lesson that you want to do, and then from there, you implement it. And once you implement it, you complete your application, and you can be a Common Sense educator. And I think it would be very impactful and meaningful if we model that as a school and students, educators with our students. So I encourage you to consider that. This would be a great PDP part for your staff to consider doing this year. So next up, I want you to save the date for Digital Citizenship Week. That is in the plans. It is mid-October, October 14th through 18th, I believe. And Common Sense Media, as well as many platforms, have activities for us to consider for Digital Citizenship Week. And here, what I want to do is encourage you to plan an event, plan a school-wide event where you are really promoting and raising awareness of digital citizenship and digital safety. Now, I promised you one last thing that has just been released, and this is hot off the press, and this is the DigCit resources. You can actually access this on ITSTE. And here, what they have done is they have made a beautiful website that has the lessons, Common Sense Media lessons, as well as other resource lessons developed for you. But here's the sweet spot, everyone. They've got it organized by strand and grade level. So it's not just K5, it's K1, 2, 3, 4, 5, as well as all of that good information. So I strongly encourage you to can check out these Digicit resources. And I want to thank you for joining me today for navigating digital tales, navigating digital citizenship, story, and STEAM. We are excited to be here, and we want to thank you for that. And my last little piece for those that have been in my session is just my thanks sheet that I have for everybody. So again, thank you for your time, and have a great day and a great school year.